So Advent box number 8 is to marble our own Christmas crackers. Now I saw these crackers on a designer website, obviously not handmade, but I thought wouldn't it be great if I could replicate that sort of quality of marbled crackers using some marbling ink. So that's what I've done, and this is one of the crackers here. So it's quite subtle, but I'll show you how to create that effect. If I zoom in on the end of the cracker there, I'll be able to show you in a little bit more detail, but let's go through the process. So I've got myself a baking tray and I've popped one of the white pieces of paper in the bottom of it. It's just because you might not have a cream baking tray and they might all be the, that charcoal colour. So it's going to be helpful to be able to see the ink if you've got white underneath it. So then in your sets there was a bin bag. So to protect your baking tray and obviously the piece of paper, just pop it in the bin bag, like so. And then fill that with some water. So I've got some warm water ready. And just gently tip that in. I've just found it works a little bit better with warm water. Just need to let a bit of air out. Rather than really cold water. There we go. Need it too deep because we are just going to be working on the surface of the water. So there we go. So it's just warm water out of the tap. It's not boiled water, even though I've used a flask. Right, then you get your marbling ink and give it a good shake. Really important, needs a really good shake. Now with this, less is more. You really don't need an awful lot of marbling ink to create the effect. This is going to last you for ages. So pop open the top, and then you're going to use your cocktail stick to just dip it in and then rest it into the water. And you'll see it instantly disperse. And it looks like you haven't got any marbling ink in there, but I promise you, you have. And obviously the more ink you put in, the darker the marks. Just add a little bit more. And hopefully now you can start to see it accumulating on the surface. Right, now with the dirty stick, I'm just going to place that to one side because I will use that when I do the next one. I'm going to get a clean stick and I'm going to swirl the pattern. So I can see here where there's no ink, I'm just going to move the marble ink around. And you've got to do it really carefully and slowly, because you're not trying to mix it, you're just trying to get these swirl marks on the surface. Now I can see them really well here from my angle, but I'm hoping the camera is picking those swirl marks up for you too. You really need it in a good light, because you can look at it and go, well, there's no ink there, there's nothing in it, and then you suddenly put the paper on and you're like, oh, there was ink. And there is marble. Okay, so when you think you've got it mixed up as much as you want, then I really suggest that you use one of my spare pieces of paper that I gave you to do a test. And you do it by resting it on one end first and then moving it to the other and then lifting it straight out, and then that is what you get. So you can see that with that one I did put a lot more ink on, but I wanted you to be able to see the effect on the camera. When I did the original one here, I've used a lot less ink, so I'll do that next so you can see the combination. But that's took the ink out of the tray, so you can go again. You need to put that somewhere to dry, because even when you've done your crackers, you can't use them until they've completely dried. So pop it somewhere safe to dry, and then go again. So shake your marble ink just a little bit in case it's separated, and then using your cocktail stick with all the ink on, just pop it in and then just drop it in. This time I'm going to drop it in different spots. And not as much. I want to show you a like real subtle marble effect. Okay, so I think that'll be it. And then harder for you to see now because I haven't got as much in the water, but I just want to show you what this will look like when you go for a much more subtle marbled effect. Okay, this is going to be good. So this is why I said less is more, and I'll see why when I show you this. So with another piece of paper, exactly the same from one end to the other, and then lift it up, and then can you see, I think that's a much better marbled effect that you're going to want on your cracker. So if I just lay that one like that, and then show you that one like that, you can see the two different effects. That's using a lot more ink, but we've still got that marbled effect, and this one dropping into the water. This one is using much less ink, but it gets a really lovely marbled look. So there we go. So once you're happy, when you've done your test pieces and you know how much ink you want to put in for the effect you're going for, then go back to adding the ink and you can do your crackers. So I'll just do one cracker for you to see, and I'm going to carry on with that subtle approach just so that all my crackers are similar, but you could do 3 of one and 3 of the other. Okay, so not an awful lot of ink. Marble it through the water. And if at any point you're not happy with it, just use a spare piece of paper, lift the ink from the water and go again. You've got loads of ink to keep trying this till you're happy with it. Okay, so going for that subtle approach, get my cracker and decide which way you think ought to be the top, and then place it in the water and move it so it's all covered, and then lift it out, and there is the marbled cracker. I just love it. I hope you're going to love it too and really enjoy making your 6 crackers. So once you've made your 6 crackers and you've got them all looking beautifully marbled, then you're going to join them together and pop your ribbon around the outside, not forgetting to insert your joke and your hat and the pulley pop stick if you want to have that little bang when you pull open your crackers around the Christmas table. So there we go, that's cracker making. Enjoy the marbling.